Okay, well, it's a pleasure to be here again for the sixth time, and first time coming off of a losing record, so things have been a little bit different for us this off season. But I've been really pleased with the direction that we're going as a program. I think it has all started with our players and the way that they have owned the responsibility of getting us back on track. We made some changes as a staff that I think will benefit us. I'm excited about those changes. Our players have worked incredibly hard, shown a great attitude. They understand how important a healthy culture, a competitive culture, a demanding culture, a culture of accountability and respect is, and they've embraced that every day. They've taken it upon themselves to be very demanding of each other without ever demeaning each other, and the way they speak to each other and the things that I hear them say and the things that I watch them do lead me to believe that we're again on the right track. A key for us, obviously, this year will be staying healthy and you know, developing depth, specifically on our offensive line. That's what I believe most of the concern, where most of the concern would lie, would be our offensive line. Now, I know most of the questions will most certainly be about our quarterback who's coming off an injury, but we need to be able to stay healthy on the offensive line and develop depth at that position. And I think that we're on our way towards doing that. I'm excited about our defense. It's the third year in the system. Our players understand it. They've embraced it. They enjoy it. We've been able to add some wrinkles that we believe will help us because our players have a firm understanding of the foundation of what we want to do defensively. And we've got good players that take a lot of pride in their work ethic and their performance. So, you know, our focus right now is not on Texas A&M. It's on, you know, every practice being a good practice, getting 1% better every day, every meeting being a productive meeting, you know, making sure we're taking care of our bodies and giving ourselves a chance to recover, and continuing to push each other and cultivate this culture that we hope will lead to success. So, exciting time. It's always exciting when you start a new season. It's a fresh start, and that's where we're at right now. So, we've got a couple of great representatives here in Kenny Young and Scott Quisenberry, two all Pac-12 players, two leaders on our football team, two seniors that have meant a lot to our program. You know, Remington, Scotty's on the Remington watch list, and Kenny's on the Buckus watch list. And I think that that reflects what people around the country think of them, and I think you'll enjoy talking to them as well. So, with that, I'll open it up to questions. Came on the radar. Jed Fish, our offensive coordinator, had experience with him at University of Miami, and we got wind that he had graduated and was looking to be a graduate transfer, and so, you know, we started to communicate with him, and it just worked out where he came to UCLA. And I'll tell you this, Ben, I think that it was a very big acquisition for us, not just because he's massive, but because it gives us some experience and it allows us to build some depth. You know, with Colton Miller at left tackle and Sonny at right tackle, you've got a couple of large men that are athletic and have experience. It allows us to do some things inside at the guard position. You guys know that we had Kenny Lacy working at tackle during the spring. Andre James played tackle when Colton got hurt last year. So we have some flexibility that we didn't have. It's going to be important for us to stay healthy. You'd like to be able to go through a season with your starting five intact. That's not always realistic. But we need to do a really good job in the next 3 or 4 weeks of trying to develop some depth. And I believe we've got some young men that can step up and really progress, and have progressed. You know, Burton, who we switched from defensive line to offensive line, seems to have made a really good transition. Michael Alves is a young man that I think you know, will develop into a guy that can play if we need him. Paco, Perez, you know, healthy. So I think that there's some good things happening there, but it's still very much a question mark. The players have done a tremendous job. Number one, it starts with Coach Alosi and our organized mandatory workouts, and the lifting and the conditioning and the recovery. But our players have had, I just was talking to Scotty, they've had 25 player-run practices where everybody's there. They've got a script. They're doing individual. They're doing one-on-one. They're doing team. They're doing 7-on-7 or skelly, as some people call it. And you know, we're not allowed to watch it. NCAA regulations permit, or do not permit coaches to watch it, film it, anything like that, evaluate it. I don't even know that we're allowed to ask about it, but our players have volunteered to me that it's been very, very productive, that the young guys have come in this summer and have embraced it, and it'll put us ahead of where we've been in the past because we've had so many of those. We've never had this many, so I think it'll be a good thing. And I think it creates ownership for the players. They're having to teach each other. They're having to work with each other. They're having to compete and cooperate at the same time. Very important. Kenny is very well respected by all of our coaches, certainly the players. He's a very serious young man. He's team-oriented and goal-driven. He's accomplished a lot of great things at UCLA, both on and off the field. And I think one of the things I'm most proud of is the things that he's been able to do academically. But he's a serious guy, and winning is important to him. Being on the right type of team is important to him. And I think he's a great example for not only our young players, but our entire team.
How do you feel about the offense with the new coaches after one spring?
Well, I feel good. And I think that, is that killing you guys? I hope I continue to feel good. But it's a good group of men. Jed Fish has tremendous pedigree. He's worked with 3 Super Bowl winning head coaches, and Brian Billick, Mike Shanahan, and Pete Carroll. He's also worked with Steve Spurrier and Jim Harbaugh, as well as many great assistants, and has a very clear idea of what we want to be offensively. It's great to get Deshaun Foster back in the fold. He has a tremendous influence on our players. Jimmy Dougherty comes in as the receiver coach, and I had a chance to watch him coach when he was at the University of Washington, and I wasn't coaching, and go daily to practice and loved his energy, and our players were really taken to him. And then bringing in Hank Fraley as the offensive line coach, who's played in the NFL, did it really probably less on talent and more on technique and intelligence and work ethic. Coached in the NFL, coached in college. It's a good staff. I'm excited about it.
You brought in a couple of big-time kids, Jalen Phillips and Darnell Holt. What kind of impact did they make as this record?
Well, you know, we're fortunate that they both were able to come for winter quarter. So they were able to go through winter conditioning, and then they were able to go through spring practice. So they got those 15 practices plus these 25, 26 player-run practices that they'll have before camp. So they're going to have 40 practices under their belt before we start next week. So I think that will contribute to them being able to be impactful as freshmen. They're both tremendously talented young men. They're mature. They're competitive. And I think that they both have a chance to see a lot of time. And they'll push for starting positions. And we're not afraid to play them. You know, the guys that are going to do it the way it needs to be done for us to be successful.
Is the plan vote for Darnay to go
We have to move slowly. We need to master something. We need him to master being a defensive back, a corner, and a nickel. But fortunately, he's very smart, and I know that Jed is very creative, and we will have packages for him. We just have to make sure that we're monitoring it so that we give Darnay the best chance to have the individual success that will lead to team success. But you want a guy like that to have the ball in his hands. Well, we just focus on ourselves, and we acknowledge that Sam's a great player. It's fun to have two great quarterbacks in the same city, in the same conference. But what's important for us is just to try to be the best we can be, because that's what we can control. We can't control Sam. But I know this, he's fun to watch. He's not fun to compete against, because he's tough to get down, and he's a heck of a competitor.
How has Josh progressed on his grasp of Jed's offense since he's there? How is their relationship with coaches?
I think that he's progressed tremendously. I think it's a huge credit to Josh Rosen and the way that he's matured and the way that he's approached this offseason. Just like all these young men, they kind of get it at a different time. And I think a lot of things factored into Josh having the productive offseason that he's had, certainly being injured and having football kind of removed from his life as a player for the time that he did affected him, humbling himself to a certain degree and accepting coaching. I think that he has had it. I've been asked a couple times, is it helpful or hurtful that he's on his third coordinator, quarterback coach? For some, it might be hurtful. For Josh, I think it's helpful because he loves information. He loves to absorb information. I think when you talk about Noel Mazzoni, a coach that came in and coordinated an offense that I believe holds almost every offensive record in UCLA history. He had a sense about him, a calm about him that I think Josh learned from. And then to bring in Marcus Tuiasosopo, who played the position and played it with grit and determination and so much success, and they could relate to each other and bounce things off each other. And now to have a person like Jed with his pedigree and his background and the people he's coached for and the players that he's coached, it's all building this very strong platform for Josh that I believe he's embracing. And I see a very strong relationship there.
Jim, how did you personally deal with the losing season, and how do you evaluate and move on from it?
Well, it's hard. You're not in this to do anything but try to have success, and every loss rips your guts out. And the first thing you do is you point the finger at yourself. You say, where did I not do a good enough job, and how are we going to learn from this? I think you make a huge mistake if you make excuses or sweep it under the rug. If you blame injuries, there are factors, but you have to look deeper than that. You have to look at everything that you do, from the way you meet, to the way you practice, to your schemes, to how you coach, to the words you use, to the culture you're building, to how you let them recover, and you just pull it all apart. And you use your experience and the experience of your coaches and your colleagues, and you try to put it back together in a way that will give you a chance to succeed in the future. And that's been what we've tried to do this offseason.
Biggest concerns going into fall camp, and where are the battles going to fall?
Well, I don't know that I have huge concerns other than, as I said with Ben, just seeing how the offensive line develops, and can we create a chemistry with those five and see them play the whole year. I'm always concerned with injuries during camp because you have to find the right mix of contact and player safety, and that's always, there's a rub there. I usually lean towards player safety. The biggest battles, I think, the backup quarterback position is a battle. I think you've got three really pretty good players competing for two guard positions on the offensive line. I think we need to make a decision there pretty quickly so we can get that cohesiveness I talked about. I think that defensively, because we play more players defensively than we do offensively. It's more for, maybe not the starting job, but playing time. Defensive end with Jalen Phillips and Keyshawn Lucier-South, or corner with Darnay and Denzel Fisher and Colin Samuel. So there's some, and punter. Everyone wants to talk about that, but we've got a competition at punter as well. I'm a proponent of the elimination of two-a-days. I think adding the days that they did to the front end of the practice schedule, while it's been a challenge because it happened late and it's forced us even up till today to adjust, how we're going to practice, when we're going to practice. Now our players are in school when they wouldn't be. There's been some challenges, but I think it's all worth it. I think that we have to be conscious of player safety. When you see a study that came out the other day where the deceased NFL players' brains that they studied, and you saw the high rate of CTE, that doesn't just happen when they go to the NFL. It starts at an early age, and so we have to be conscious of those things. These are young men that we're dealing with. And player safety has to be a premium. The percentage of these young men that are go on and make a living at this is minuscule. So I'm in agreement with it, very much so.
Oregon has seen an uptick in recruiting, and they've put a major focus on social media. What are your thoughts on social media when using for recruiting?
For recruiting,
yeah.
It's necessary. Recruiting is not over yet. Recruiting is ongoing until the fax comes in or the email comes in. I don't think you can judge success or failure in recruiting, and then you have to go a few years down the line. But it's necessary because it's how kids communicate now. And they're not going to adjust to us. We have to adjust to them. And so that means that an old guy like myself has to learn to use Snapchat or, communicate in different ways, different forms. Then that's something that I have to do.
How would you rate your social media game?
Mine?
Yeah.
I'm probably a C. I'm glad that we can text the players now, because I was having trouble communicating in 140 characters on Twitter. I like Instagram, I put some pictures out there. I think that for me, voice-to-voice communication is always the best way to communicate. It leaves less room for error and interpretation.
Coach, how's your running game and how are the wide receivers?
Our running game was awful, and I'm hopeful that it will improve and get back to where it was. The first few years we were together as a staff. I feel good about the direction it's headed. I think we've got good backs. We've got a good scheme that's well coached, and the players understand, and we understand that it needs to be better. The receivers, I think it's a good group. I think it's a solid group. I think there's a need for us to find a way to develop more consistency. And receivers have to catch the ball. That's the job. Number one is to catch the ball. Some might say get open and catch the ball, but if you get open and can't catch the ball, getting open doesn't matter. So we've worked really hard. We've done a lot of things. I've just said, hey, you drop a few. The way we utilize the judge machine or different devices on our eyes to try to help these guys just get more consistent catching the ball. But I like our group.
What about your team's speed, especially on offense?
You know what? We can run. We can run. Our receivers can run. Eldridge Massington ran in the Pac-12 championships on our 4x100 team. Ran well. Dio can run. Aaron Anderson can run. I don't want to leave. If I leave someone out, they say you just said I couldn't run. I didn't say you couldn't run. I just said the guys that can't run. I think it's good. I think it's good. We've got good team speed. I don't know where it would rank amongst others, but I don't see a lack of team speed.
Coach, update on injuries today, Sean Holiday,
Denzel's okay. He's full speed. Deshaun is not. Deshaun will not be able to start camp on the field. He'll be in treatment still with his shoulder. Zach Bateman is coming off the foot and is not yet cleared 100%, but he's getting better. Other than those two, Boss good to go.
Alex?
Papa's good to go. That doesn't mean we won't have to monitor him and make sure that, we're not overloading him early. Austin is fine. The only two guys that right now it looks like have any issues are, Alex Akinbulu, which we know he's going to miss this year with the knee. Zach Bateman, who we expect back relatively soon. And who's the third one you mentioned?
Deshaun.
Oh, Deshaun Holiday. Yeah, I don't know at what point Deshaun will get back. I know he's working hard to get back.
Coach, you spoke a little bit before about CTE and what do you say to the parents who sit down and look you in the eye and say that they're concerned about their kids?
All right, I'll give you 2 more minutes here. 2-minute warning for UCLA.
I say I understand your concerns because I have kids that play football and play contact sports. I also have been involved with 2 companies that work in that industry. I know you've heard of the company Vices. We're part of that company. And so I've been lucky over the last 8 years to get pretty detailed information on where we are in terms of progress in diagnosing, treating, dealing with head injuries, some of the newer technology that's on the market. And I tell them that we don't play with head, neck, and spine injuries. We don't make mistakes there. If there's any indication that their son has a head, neck, or spine injury, then they will be removed from play immediately, regardless of the consequences to the team, because their health is more important than anything. I also tell them that at UCLA we're on the cutting edge of technology in all of those areas. We're going to give them the best care, the best treatment, the best resources, the best equipment, and it's like it's not like any other injury, but a head injury, if allowed to heal properly, you can get back on the field. The problem is you can't see it. When someone sprains an ankle or hurts a knee or shoulder or elbow, you can see it and you can monitor recovery. With a head injury, it's more difficult. But once again, at UCLA, we're doing some really great and innovative things in terms of analyzing when kids can return to play.
You guys still use those helmet sensors? To help?
Not right now. There's a lot of different things on the market right now, and some work and some don't, and we're trying to find the best products to keep our players safe.
All right, that'll conclude UCLA. We are finished now with UCLA. They will be available at 1 o'clock for additional one-on-one interviews out here.